Well, hello there, y'all. You might want to know why we're over at Superfoods again today. Well, it's Sunday. And we came across some disturbing news about potatoes. So we're over here at Superfoods checking prices. So let's see what they got here. As you can see here, they got here some potatoes, 8 pounds, 2 bags for $6.50. That ain't bad. And these potatoes are from, well, these are some russet potatoes from Minnesota, Wingard Farms. We're going to head through 2 bags of them in there. But over here, we got a 5-pound bag of red potatoes, $3.44. Got some of these here butter golds, $2.82 for 5 pounds. Then of course down here we got baby red potatoes for $2.41 for 3 pounds. That's pretty high for my blood. Well, we got some more russets over here. And these are from Dole. As you can see, pineapple people. Not sure what they got about potatoes. Theirs are 2 for $4. But it's only 4 pounds. And then Idaho's, which is what I normally try to buy, is a 5-pound bag for $2.44. So looks like our best deal is the 8-pound bag for $3.25, or 2 for $6.50. So y'all, that's why we're over here today. We're checking potato prices, and later on in this video, once I get done with the rest of my shopping, I'll be showing you just why, because it's not the best of news. So y'all stay tuned, okay? So y'all, here we are, back at the old computer screen tonight. And this was an article. It's from a site I follow. It's called The Packer. And it's mainly deals with processing of different vegetables and fruits. But they had an interesting article that came out here on October 23rd. And we'll just start with the headline here. Updated. Mother Nature deals setbacks to Idaho, North Dakota potatoes. Now, if you're not familiar with what states produce the most potatoes in America, number 1, of course, is Idaho. Number 2 is Washington State. And North Dakota's in the top 13 to 15 states as well. And they got a little graph here to start the article off, and these are Idaho potatoes on the rise, question mark. 50-pound cartons, September through October. And you can see they went up coming out of September. Of course, that's the end of crop of last year. They were up as high as $19 a carton. And they fell on off to about $11 a carton, but now they're back on up to $16. Now here again, they got updated October 24th. Weather in Idaho and the Red River Valley in North Dakota and Minnesota will affect how many table stock potatoes those regions have this season. Now, just so you know, table stock potatoes are the fresh potatoes that I just bought in those bags from Superfoods. That's all they mean by that, table stock potatoes. That's not processed potatoes. That's not the potatoes that are going to be canned. You see in the cans in the grocery stores, French fries, other frozen potatoes, or dehydrated potatoes. And really, the biggest news going on is the weather and Mother Nature. It has changed our outlook this year, said Joe Esta, Vice President of Wada Farms, Idaho Falls, Idaho, at the Produce Marketing Association Fresh Summit. Cold weather in Idaho and heavy rains in the Red River Valley prevented harvest in some regions, Esta said. The extent of crop loss in Idaho is unknown, but Esta said it could be significant. Some fields won't be harvested, while others will be harvested because of insurance requirements, but may not have the right quality for the fresh market. Now what that means is some of the farmers will harvest their potatoes anyway, but they won't be usable. For the fresh table stock potatoes, like you go out and buy in the bags, just like I did. And they'll be diverted to processing, most likely canned potatoes. And what he continues to say is, I would guess damage is probably in the 20% range. Some northern Idaho farmers got affected a lot worse. It was a lot colder weather, while some of the guys in southern areas have most of their crop in, he said. A snowstorm and cold weather in late September and early October hit northern Idaho growing regions. We can handle cold for a couple of days, but after that it got cold in the single digits in some areas. Moisture in fields didn't allow potatoes to warm up. In addition, an earlier frost in June knocked yields down for some growers. All of those factors are going to make for an interesting market, and then North Dakota lost some of their crop. Industry reports indicate Idaho probably had roughly 15% or more of the potato crop still in the ground when the hard freeze night started on October the 9th. Mark Copeland, President and CEO of the United Potato Growers of America, said in an email, most of those potatoes were destined for the fresh sector, but some were targeted for processor use. Of those remaining with a high likelihood of potential damage, we've heard anywhere from 10% to as high as 40% frost damage. North Dakota crop lagging. The USDA's crop progress report for Minnesota reported October the 21st that 64% of potatoes were harvested on that date, well behind the 89% harvested the same time last year. Unusually heavy rains and snows has slowed harvest. So folks, there's still a lot of potatoes out there, and the question is, can they get them out? And then what's the quality going to be like? Most likely, they will not be for fresh use. Now, growers for the company only had about a third of their crop harvested as of October the 24th, compared to 90% completed on similar dates in recent years. With cold weather moving in soon, growers could be hard pressed to finish. From the first part of September into late October, between 8 and 16 inches rain fell, in addition to anywhere from 10 to 25 inches of snow. He said perhaps 50 to 60% of the potato fields around Grand Forks were still at risk. The markets are definitely being pushed, Missouri said. The Northern Plain Potato Growers Association, which represents North Dakota and Minnesota growers, said that only 45 to 50% of potatoes have been harvested in the immediate Red River Valley region, with fresh and seed growers hit particularly hard. Now folks, that's an important sentence, especially the part about seed growers. And that's happening all over our country, whether it's potatoes, corn, soybeans, millet, barley. Those farmers out there that grow the seed for those crops, and here, seed potatoes for next year's plantings, have been severely hit. And that means next year there's going to be a lot less seed potatoes to put in the ground to get the 2020 crop in the ground to take care of our needs in the remainder of 2020 and going into 2021. It's a cascading event of harsh, wet, extremely abnormal cold. North Dakota's wet weather has had an equal, if not larger, impact on their potato crop. Many fields south of Grand Forks will not be harvested. It's a bit better situation north of Grand Forks, but still serious, as North Dakota is probably only 70% or so harvested. And here again, mostly impacting fresh potatoes. Market spike. Estes said the U.S. hasn't experienced a shortfall of potatoes since 1985. Now I want you to think about that, people. What they're talking about is the possibility of a shortfall of potatoes, especially for the fresh market, those that we use, you, me, and everyone, for our baked potatoes, our mashed potatoes, when we do our own french fries, hash browns, or whatever. I want you to think about that. I'm nearly 64 years old, and I can't remember that happening in my lifetime. The U.S. Department of Agriculture reported truck shipments of Idaho potatoes the week of October the 13th to October the 19th were 29% below year-ago levels, while shipments from North Dakota were off by about half. That's 50%, folks. The shipping point price for Idaho 60-count russet potatoes was about $15 per carton on October the 22nd, up from about $10 per carton on October the 10th. That's a 50% increase, people. That's huge. And once they get to our supermarkets and groceries, you're going to start feeling the pain. Packers will not run at full capacity so they can preserve supply for as long as possible. By May, and they're talking about May of next year, upward pressure on prices may be unavoidable. Back in the day, we used to have a month and a half spread where we made room for other areas, he said. You can see a lot longer spread without potatoes. They're saying right here, without potatoes, if people aren't careful with supply this year. Potato crop yields and quality were good in Ohio and Michigan, said Todd Michael, owner of Michael Family Farms, Urbana, Ohio. But the uncertainty and potential shrink faced by Idaho packers is a big question mark. Prices of Red Valley potatoes are already well above year-ago levels. The USDA reported on October the 22nd that the price of 50-pound cartons of Red River Valley size B round red potatoes was $23 to $25.50, up from $14 to $16.50 per carton the same time a year ago. I mean, that's nearly $10 increase in a carton of potatoes from this time last year. And based on what I've just read to you folks, it's only going to get worse as this year goes forward and we go into 2020. Now you know why old Mr. Tom was over at the supermarket buying potatoes. They're as cheap as they're going to be this year. And I'm not sure what the prices are in your area. They may be better than mine, but if you use a lot of potato, you might want to be thinking about getting out there, getting potatoes, getting them processed, so you can store them for the 2020 season, like right now. So y'all, we're going to take a look at this last article right here. And this one's titled, North Dakota Grower Struggles to Complete Harvest. And this is from the Potato Grower magazine website. It was published online on October 24th of this year. One of the largest potato farmers in Grand Forks County, North Dakota, is in a race against time to harvest his crop. Hubbardson Farms had about 17 inches of rain and another 20 inches of snow since September the 1st. And after waiting on muddy, flooded fields to dry, Carl Hubbardson needs to get his potatoes out of the ground before temperatures drop too low. Hubbardson said this year's crop is one of the best crops they've ever had, but a couple of 1,000 acres worth of potatoes are still sitting in the mud. The bad thing is, once they get cold, they won't fry really well, Hubbardson said. Once they start getting frost damage, then it's probably getting to be too late. His crew has been slowly making progress, but their equipment often gets stuck. The farm is usually done with the potato harvest by October the 1st. But this year, the ground was too wet for the crew to get into the fields. Now think about that, folks. It's now October 27th, and he should be all finished up. But he's still out there struggling, trying to get our spuds out of the ground so we can have them for next year. It's just been consistently raining, Hubbardson said. Every 3 or 4 days it rains and we're shut down. The farm has even paid its seasonal workers to stay to help with the harvest. This fall has been the worst they've seen in decades. It'll be the first year since 1983 that we wouldn't finish, Hubbardson said. I was hoping we'd finish, but it doesn't look like we will. Hubbardson said about 60% of the potatoes have been harvested, and they will be lucky if they make it to 75%. However, the farmer knows he's not alone in the fight. This year it's been tough for everybody. It's going to affect the whole region, Hubbardson said. It's just not one farmer. Hubbardson also said that he's prepared to have a bad year and will take preventative steps ahead of next farming season, and expressed his thanks to the 180-man crew helping him stay in business. It's amazing that there are good enough people to hang in there, Hubbardson said. So there you have it, folks. That's just 2 of the articles I could come up with in my continuing research on vegetables and pulses and the harvest we've had this 2019 harvest season, which is going down in the record books on all categories as being one of the worst in quite some time. Some are saying 40 to 60 years or longer. So we're all going to see how next year comes out. My advice would be, based on what I'm seeing now, especially here with the potatoes, is get what you can, get them put back, process them, store them as you choose. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope I provide some information to you where you can make the appropriate decision for your family, your friends, and loved ones. And like always, folks, I do appreciate you watching, and I would like to wish each and every one of you out there Take care of yourself, and stay safe, and God bless you all. Till I see you on the next video, goodbye for now.